Hey guys, it's Miss West Social Studies class. We're going to talk about European colonial expansion, meaning the European countries are going to be expanding and taking over other countries and setting up colonies. In the 1400s, Europeans began to sail across the globe. Very nice, very nice. There you can see a picture of Europe, the continent. Why did they sail across the globe? Because they really wanted to get silks and spices from Asia. You see, spices make their meat taste delicious, and silks feel nice on their bum. So they're like, we got to get to Asia to get these really cool goods, and then we can sell them in Europe for a whole bunch of money. But why are they sailing and not taking the land? Well, they can't take the Silk Road because the Ottoman Empire had taken over, and the Ottomans were like, there is no passage here. You have to buy the silks and spices from us. So basically, the Ottomans wanted to be like a middleman where they would sell Asian silks and spices to European merchants, only they would charge them boatloads of money. And the Europeans are like, what? If I buy from you, I won't get as much of a profit. So the Europeans decided that they would rather try to sail around Africa and get their own silks and spices than buy from the Ottoman Empire. So the Europeans set sail on mostly uncharted waters, and they encountered winds and currents. Now, those could be good or bad. The wind could blow them off course or make them get to their destination faster. They could ride the currents to their destination, or they might have to fight against a current. So they figured out how to sail with the winds and the currents and how to deal with them. So the Portuguese are the first people to go along the western coast of Africa and to really explore there. It makes sense because Portugal is really close to the western part of Africa. So there you can see some Portuguese saying that they're about to travel the coast of Africa and then go to Asia. Here you can see a lot of their trade routes as well as like some of the currents that they would have to deal with. So this guy right here, Bartolomeu Dias, he's the first to go around Africa and here to the tip around the western side of Africa and then down here to the Cape of Good Hope or Cape Town to the tip of Africa. He made it there, then he went home. And then Vasco de Gama was like, oh yeah, I can one-up you. And he went all the way down the western side of Africa, stopped at the Cape of Good Hope maybe for a potty break, and then went all the way over to India, which is why he's famous, because that's amazing. So he made it to India to get his silks and spices. Here's a picture of the Cape of Good Hope, Cape Town, on the tip of Africa. Now I read that there is like some sort of like cross or headstone or something for both Diaz and Vasco da Gama somewhere along this beach. This guy right here didn't really go sailing a lot, but he set up a school of navigation, which was super important because they needed to develop new technology and also learn how to sail well. So his school was really important during this time. This guy, Christopher Columbus, very important to us here in America. He took a western route to get to Asia. He had no idea he would run into two other continents. In fact, he didn't even realize he had ran into two other continents, and they figured that out later on when Amerigo Vespucci was like, guys, this ain't Asia. So Christopher Columbus goes to the King and Queen of Spain, gets some money from them, they fund him, and they send him off to find a western route to Asia, which he doesn't find. Pope Alexander VI draws this line of demarcation that divides the globe for Spain and Portugal. You see, Spain and Portugal are both Catholic countries, and the Pope is like the big daddy. So Portugal and Spain both want to take over the world and get as much colonies of land as they can. Well, they're like, Pope, Spain keeps taking everything. And then Spain's like, Portugal keeps taking everything. And so Pope Alexander VI draws the line of demarcation saying that Spain can have all of the western side or the left side, and Portugal can get whatever they want to get over on the right side or the eastern side. Well, then Portugal is like, that's not fair because the New World's over here. So the Treaty of Tordesillas moves this line over just a tad, and then Portugal takes this area here called Brazil. Pedro Cabral is the guy that claims Brazil for Portugal. And there he is. Magellan is famous because his group left Spain and sailed all the way around the globe. We call that circumnavigating the globe, and made it back to Spain. Now, poor Magellan did not make it back to Spain. He died in the Philippines, but he's still famous because his crew made it all the way back to Spain. Hernando Cortes traveled to South America, where he took over the Aztec civilization. We call him a conquistador or a conqueror. He explored Mexico, and of course he's from Spain because they speak Spanish in Mexico. Bizzaro, he conquered the Inca in Peru. They also speak Spanish in Peru. And those are all of the guys that we need to know about for the Age of Exploration. So that's it for today. Have a good one.